to listen. I can sort that out. I think we can do the video file if you want to stick up on yours as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. We're live.
Oh.
How are you doing?
Very well,
All right,
thank
all
you.
right,
How are
thank
you?
you. Yeah,
Good stuff.
Marvellous.
I forgot to turn that down instantly. I did that the other night as well. I didn't ask any names before you came in.
Dale. So I'm one of SSPS's investigators, as is Andy, and Dale is our cameraman for the whole duration of us being out and about.
And you guys are ghost hunters.
We are.
Yeah.
That's what we
Do
do.
you consider it as ghost hunter? Is that?
Ghost hunters, paranormal investigators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to, whatever kind of bracket it goes into. That's us. We do all sorts.
How long have you been doing this for?
Together as a company, about 3 years
About
now,
3
isn't it? It's about
years.
3 years. Yeah. Individually, forever and ever and ever.
So what got you into the idea of doing it?
Right. Okay. So before SSPS started, I was part of another group called Hauntings Investigated, and we did that for about 2 years, and then slowly,
Was that based on the Isle of Man?
That was based on the Isle of Man as well, yeah. But we didn't do events. That was just a gang of us kind of going out and investigating a few places around the island. It was really good fun. But in the end, it just sort of started breaking away, and I took a break from it and did lots of other sort of spiritual journey type things, and I've just come full circle, really come right back round again.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy kind of slipped into the equation because we would hold events, and Andy started coming to the events, and I thought, we need another team member here, and he was attending them all, and I thought to myself, right, okay, let's have a bit of a meeting, let's get him on board, and that's basically how Andy's sort of joined up, really.
Yeah.
And it's yeah. Isn't it?
So what gave you your interest in this sort of thing?
I've always been interested in it.
Yeah.
For years, to be honest. Everyone's got stories.
Everyone has got stories. I've got a couple of stories.
You talk to people, you say to people, what do you know? I said, I'm a bit of a ghost hunter. They go, oh, I lived in a house. A few places in England, a few companies over there where you can go over and you can go into haunted places and basically do like a bit of a ghost hunt if you want in there, spend the night and all that. And then it was always, you also had to come and thought, is anybody going to do it over here? And you just give up. And then somebody said to me, oh, there's this company's doing this event, and it was at
Sulby.
It was at Sulby,
Yeah.
Sulby Hotel.
Yeah.
And I thought, all right, okay, well, that's good. It's paying for a plane to go over, it's here. So that's so when I went to that. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Then he did another one, and I had a few bits of kit anyway, a few of the K2 stuff and all that. And it just,
Is that what does electromagnetic fields?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots of that's the most famous one.
Yeah.
Got that as a Christmas present. Actually, I remember rightly. Yeah. And we just went from there.
It did. Just
And
grew
then-
and grew, didn't it?
Then I just went to a
really?
few of your events,
Mm.
and then he said to me, "Do you fancy joining the group?" I said, "Aye, up for that, yeah." So that's how I got. But I've seen myself a few interesting things. I mean, you talk to people and they say they've seen this and they've seen that.
Yeah.
But until you actually sort of witness it yourself, you're always going, okay, yeah, well, there is something, but you know what I mean.
Well, what's that as far as personal experience stuff?
I was working in, I can't say what it is, but it was a boiler room, and there was a colleague of mine was in there, and he said, I wouldn't go down there. He said, stuff's moving around. And we thought, yeah, right, and all this. So we were actually doing some work, so I thought, well, okay, let's do an experiment. And I set a few things up, just put some bits of wood and things and just left it there, okay. Then you think, right, somebody got in here, but nobody could have got in and hide the key, so that was a bit freaky, as you can imagine. And since then we've been going backwards to this place every so often, and there's still stuff happening in there. It's just pretty odd. Now that really got me up then. Like I said, I've always been interested, but that was whoa. So then I bought some more kit, and then that's when that started, when we started doing the events. We've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. What about yourself? Because that's what I'm interested in, is the like what have you come across which has been like the tipping point to go, because everyone can see things and you go, oh, that might be a thing. Like I've seen a couple of lights in the sky, for instance. I can't understand, but at the end of the day, I've seen a couple of lights in the sky, really. But what have you seen which has made you go, nah, this is fucking real?
I think, to be honest with you, my grandma was a medium, so and sort of like going back from her mother, so going back into the Victorian times when you had all the parlour games and everything, my family was completely wrapped up in that, sort of as far back as I know. And then I seem to have been the only one in the next generation of us all that had an interest in it. My mum didn't have an interest in it. I've no brothers and sisters or anything. So it was just kind of like laid on my shoulders. And I remember my grandma, and I'd be about 5 or 6, and we'd play about with the Ouija board in her front room in Preston.
It's before the poltergeist got everyone really terrified of it.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly. I mean, I was even, them kind of film. It was great. It was fun.
Yeah.
I was 4 or 5 years old, and this glass is flying around everywhere. Was it real? Was it not? Was it entertainment? I have no idea. I was too young. Either way, it was great fun. And then it was only really started once we were doing that. Then a few little things would happen. I remember, as I say, I lived in the heart of Preston. It was a very, very busy place where we lived. But I remember my grandma sat in the corner looking at me saying, "You can see what I can see." And in the corner of the room were 2 gold bars just floating, hovering, like gold bars. That's all I can explain.
Wow. Do you mean, like, are you saying gold bars because that's kind of what they looked like, or were they gold bars, what we imagine as being gold bars?
What we imagine as being gold bars. Wow. Yeah. So, and they were just hovering, but they were. It was hard to explain. It was a long, long time ago, but I definitely remember that. And then I looked at her, and she just smiled at me, and she said, "You're really gifted to be able to see that." And then it really kind of went on from there. And then still in the same house, I was led on the sofa. I was watching TV, and then do you remember the you put a sock over your hand and you play the puppets? Yeah, one of, and I remember I was led on the sofa, minding my own business, watching TV, and these sodding puppets arrived from the back. There's only me and my grandma in the home, and I'm sat looking, and I've got this bloody puppet in front of and it's doing all of this. But
I wouldn't have just left the fucking house.
I wasn't.
I'd have tried my best to leave the planet.
If it had happened now, my ass will be gone. But I was too young, and I was fascinated by them.
What, sock puppets?
Sock puppets, yeah. Because they were literally a foot away from me, and they're dancing.
Haunted by the ghost of a teenage wank.
Yeah, completely and utterly, right? You're too young to kind of get, thinking, but that was as vivid as anything. And then it started having a bit of a turn as I was getting a little bit older. I moved over here when I was 8, and it wasn't that long before I moved over here, and I was in my bedroom, and it was dark, and it's something out of a horror movie, but as God is my witness, there was a creak on the wardrobe, and then a skeleton fell out.
Wow.
But it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Now, my ass got out of that bed as quick, and I flew down the stairs. I absolutely shit myself, because everything was lovely and rosy up to that point. And then where the feck has the skeleton come from? And I'll always remember that.
You mean it walked out or fell out?
It just dropped out. Just like, if the door opens and something drops out, that's what happened. And I absolutely shit myself from that moment on. And then that really did quite frighten me.
Yeah.
It did quite frighten me. Grandma came upstairs, and I remember she was livid.
So when something like that happens, right?
Yeah.
It falls out. Now,
Yeah.
is it a solid object sort of thing, or is it it's fell out and it's more not that you think you've seen it, but it's more of a memory of seeing it than actually seeing like a physical object. Do you know what I mean? I'm making a point really badly.
Okay. God blimey, this, I'm getting on a little bit now, so it was a long ago, but I do remember that there were no bangs. It wasn't solid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it kind of just fell out. I ran downstairs. Everybody, well, me and my grandma ran back upstairs. There was nothing there. Not even the wardrobe door was open.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's crazy.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So really, from birth, I've been introduced to it right the way up to 46 years on. And I'm.
Do you still see things like that?
Not as much. Not as much. Not by a long shot. But then they do say that children are really susceptible to it. Minds are open to it all.
Yeah.
It's.
No, it's different for me because.
Well, you are different.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll go on.
You're special.
Special needs. We lived in a house and we just had to live in the ground floor. It was. Didn't think nothing of it. Come out of there years later. Mum and Dad were chatting, and then just come out. Dad said, "Oh," he said, "the little man said," and then he says, "What little man?" Just nodded to him, and then Mum said, "Sorry, was it started then?" Seeing this, obviously, this on the bed. Said hello. Discussed years. Years later, they brought say
why
morning
wouldn't they
to.
appear to you? Why wouldn't he appear to you?
I don't know.
How they knew he wouldn't appear to you?
Well, they said because I was young, because they probably didn't want to fight me. But that's. Wait, once you hear that you do a bit of investing at Derby Square, obviously, it was a camp.
Yeah.
Do you know, so it could have been something to do with that.
Yeah.
There's loads of history around that.
The
around that
camps,
area, isn't it? Yeah,
and all that. But that's something from a house I was in, and then once he said that, I went, oh, But I said, well, I never saw nothing. Never dreamed of it. You know what I mean? But there you go.
I don't think this kind of work is something that you can just walk into. To be quite honest, wake up one morning and think, oh yeah, I'd love to go and.
No, you've got to have some experience, haven't you?
Well, I always think this when people turn around and say it's only ever people that believe in stuff that see stuff. And I think my response to that is because it's only the people that believe in it that are looking.
Of course.
So you can't if you're not looking for your keys, you're probably not going to find them.
No, that's true. It's true, very much so.
Dale,
much so.
Yeah. Why? If you're sort of on the fence about it, you might have to come a bit close to your mic as well. If you're sort of on the fence about it, what made you want to get involved?
So the member that isn't here tonight, Gareth, asked me because he knew I had a background in media, did a lot of filming and editing. So he asked me to join in, and I turned up and we went for just a quick introductory chat. I was a bit skeptical because the greatest respect, this is one of those things where, yes, the people who believe in it see it because they're open-minded to it. There were also, unfortunately, the times where it's completely in someone's head.
Yeah.
And it's.
I think it's good in a group like you've got to have somebody that isn't sure.
That's definitely. Yeah.
So that's so I was a bit weary before me guys because I was like, well, I mean,
there were a bunch of nutters.
On the sanity, but no, yeah, they just won me over because one of the things that they were saying is that they brought me on board to film and produce videos for them, edit and sort of direct them and that kind of way. For how long? For 4 years before, a new direction. There's something I'm not going to say I've seen anything, but I'm not going to say I haven't. But I was about.
Yeah.
Which
we do that all the time.
You've been to people's houses.
we went back and tried to what's the word? Tried to do the same again. Tried to see if we could actually, because we thought that somebody maybe. So we tried to reproduce it, and we couldn't. It just couldn't do it.
We
Couldn't
tried every
we?
which way to try and get that shadow, to try and get those legs, to try and get different angles, and we just could not. We just could not get that same figure again. We couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. We walked left, right, and everything. So to us, that's still unexplained.
Yeah.
Not saying it's paranormal.
I was taken by the orb video you had in the hallway.
That was Centenary, wasn't it?
Where about? What building are we in now?
I'm not sure it was. I looked at it on your website. Your website where there is no fucking need for that opening like fucking wallpaper. Yeah. I had my fucking iPad about here. I nearly had a stroke. Right.
It's just to pull
I
you.
forgot about pull me in. I was nearly one of the things you fucking hunt after that.
Brilliant.
You love that sort of. You love doing that,
I
don't
love
you?
it. Yeah, love it.
I did it to my friend at work as well. I said, "Oh yeah, these are who's come around, who pointed the message out to you." And I just sat and watched, and I watched him shit himself in front of me. It was amazing. Sorry, yeah, the when it because it's. I always think with the orb thing, because they do look so much like dust,
Yep.
you know, on camera.
Yep.
But then I think, well, the world's a pretty fucking dusty place.
Mm-hmm.
So why isn't there more?
Is this in Peel? Is this?
Depends though.
I don't know which one.
Yeah, there'd been Peel Centenary. I think that was one of the ones that Gareth showed.
That was
First
the
thing
wispy
Gareth
one,
showed.
the
wasn't
thing that was
it?
going to,
Yeah.
It sort of came forward, but then it went up and to the left when I saw it, and I thought it was that change of direction that made me think that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing though. It's like sometimes it's just that you'll see light, and you'll see it just kind of like a little orb of light just drift past.
Yeah.
And be like, you'll get women who are like, oh, come around my house, I've seen a ghost. It's like, well, no, just open the. It's a bit of dust, love.
Yeah, you've got to call
Fucking
fire.
Open the windows, get a bit of a draft through,
Yeah.
get the fucking Hoover out, and seriously.
But when
Make a
something
mess
looks
of
like it's being
difference.
controlled by something,
But when it changes direction,
yeah.
it's
And
like,
especially in an empty room.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
we don't really work very well with orbs, because people, show us so much footage and they send us so much footage and say, oh, I've just seen these orbs, and just as Dale said, they just walk down the corridor.
Yeah.
So there's going to be dust particles.
Yep.
And sometimes people get a little bit shirty with us because they're obsessed, they've seen a ghost, and we're saying, well, no, actually, we can be 110% on this. It's actually just dust. Look at where you've moved. Look at what you've...
Mm-hmm.
But with the Peel Centenary one,
Yeah.
that we've never ever witnessed anything like that, to the fact where people were writing in saying, oh, the bats, it's a bat, it's this, it's that. Now,
Yeah.
I've been...
Have they ever seen a bat?
But they were saying, weren't they, they thought it looked similar to a bat. I couldn't see it, but I've been right the way to the top.
I thought
I
it
found
looked-
that a lot more interesting if there's just like random bats just floating around.
Yeah.
But it's not. I've been as far as you
I
can go in there. It's as clean and as tidy
I
as
find
anything.
it more interesting if there was random bats falling and have wings that appear to be slightly glowing.
See, they're definitely not.
I showed it to people at work and they said, oh, that's a bat, or it's a big fly. Yeah, come on, is it a bird?
But that, as I say, I think that's one of the most compelling pieces of evidence I think we've ever caught, because nobody was in that room either. The cameras just caught
We
that.
tried to explain, but you can't. So.
No.
That's the thing. It's like that again. Like I was saying, that's the thing that endeared me to you. Is that you were talking about that, and when you know that there are people who have like mental, difficulties and stuff.
Yeah.
And they want there to be a ghost in the house because it explains everything.
It explains the
do you know what I mean?
problems. Yeah.
Often in the house and in a life they've lost someone, so it's comforting as well for it to be that, or someone
That
who's
must be quite
demented and-
difficult
Yeah.
when that sort of thing's going on.
And
It is difficult.
Yeah.
It is. But we go in, we do what we need to do, and we go out. And if people get comfort from that, then so be it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's...
But you don't exploit people, which is what I like. Do you know what I
God,
mean?
no,
you
not
don't,
at all. They've got in contact with us for some help
Yeah.
of some sort or another.
Yeah.
Now we're just paranormal investigators, and that's where it ends.
Mm-hmm.
But if people normally after these events as well, I go around and I bless all the house, keeps everything out.
Mm-hmm.
If that gives somebody hope and security, and by doing that, that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
But we don't go in there with big backpacks and
No.
you know, big guns and could tear arse and in with, you know, bloody flashing lights outside, do we? I mean, you know, we're quite discreet with what we do, but...
Atomic backpacks.
Yeah. Hey, you bastards, come on! Yeah, well, we're not like that at all, but yeah, it is. I mean, we do get some quite sad cases, to be quite honest with you, but...
So at what point does it go from what you guys have found or looking at to then taking some sort of action where you do something about what the person wants you to do or what might be going on?
I think before your time, Dale, I think this has only happened once when we did an investigation and I got pulled back because the activity got more when we'd left.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was...
somewhere.
Yeah,
yeah.
Right, okay.
I mean, it's tricky for us because we don't want to sort of name and shame and put
No,
places
of
onto
course
there.
not.
So I think that, and there's only one time that's ever happened.
What sort of activity?
It was active. It was towards one male that was living there. But he kind of lived off island as well, but he was back visiting, and the activity got really quite high when he was there.
Did it follow him when he went away?
No.
So it was just when he was on island in that house.
Yeah, but where he was in the building, it's not a private building, shall we say? It's a public house, so people are coming and going all the time, and it kind of just seemed to be targeting him. But I was absolutely amazed when I came face to face with him. He was a big butch lad, built like a brick shit house, skinhead. I wouldn't have liked to have met it, and I don't know, stereotyping I suppose, but he's just not the kind of man that I would have expected to have been scared of the dark in a really
it's fine.
And I got a phone call the next day saying shit's really kicking off in the room, the noises, and also heard by the landlady as well. So then I had to go back that night. And
did you get any of the noises and stuff recorded and things like that?
Nothing.
No.
Absolutely
So when you were there, it all sort of quietened down.
It quietens down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever got any recordings of noises and knocks and things?
Oh, yeah.
On most investigations we do, but a lot of those that we could count out, it's either windy or it's there's a rational explanation for it.
We set up a digital recorder. Just leave it running.
Yeah.
And then you just play it back. That's the other part about it, is it playing everything back in it later on.
Obviously take ages.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah.
I mean it takes long enough doing podcasts.
It's the other night, and you're looking at 4 cameras on the screen, and you look like that. And you've got to have a break after a while because your eyes going square.
Start playing tricks on you as well. You think you've seen something that's not actually happened, so you're rewinding it, and you do. It's hard work, but it's well worth it in the end. Just even if you sit and watch 4 hours of it, if you get a second of something you can't explain, that's worth
absolutely. Yeah,
4 hours of sitting there, isn't it?
That's part of it.
It is.
You ever had any EVPs? I'm fascinated by EVPs.
Well, that's the digital recording again.
Yeah, but like legible words and things.
We've got that. We've got apps that you can use. You've got, which is like spirit boxes.
Yeah,
which most people know.
I'm also sceptical about those things.
Because it can pick up all sorts.
Well, to me, it sounds like the idea of being like a random voice generator almost.
It is, mate. That's basically what it is. It generates with 1,000 words. But if you're asking it a question and it's coming out with it's choosing those specific
words that fit.
Then is it 50-50? Is it just a really good calculated guess? Or
once again, you got to be a little bit open minded with it. I mean, the other night we were using one, and these people were saying we think we're talking to a spirit, and one of the girls said, "Oh, do you want a cup of tea?" And then it come back on the thing, "No, coffee."
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
It is crazy, isn't it?
That's nuts.
Okay, it could be random, but the fact that it come up and that, of course, everyone goes, "Whoa,"
Yeah, but the chance, even if it is like a random voice generator with thousands of words, even me that thinks that because those voice boxes might have been something that were developed for shows that might not be the most honest things on History Channel. That seems awfully close, to a real answer for it to be chance.
But you can't go wrong with a digital recorder, because if you switch it on and you ask a few questions,
and you get something back off that,
go back. That's as it was, and you can pick things up.
We did on the last one we did on the house one.
Yeah,
how you got to find out about us, and we did
You
And
left
we
that-
just can't understand it. Yeah, we just left it running, and we was that actually on the investigation or was that on
No,
the
that was on
walkabout?
the night. We just left it downstairs,
Right,
didn't we?
okay. And we were all upstairs, and she had got a little dog, beautiful little dog. But you just hear the ding, 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 this little. So you can hear that coming down the stairs. This was left in the front room, and we were 2 floors up. And then we heard something. When I'm playing it back, it sounded like, and I don't quite know what it sounded like. A bit like a coffee percolator going off, but a vocal coffee percolator. So it kind of, I can't even remember now.
I know, but it was a bit weird.
It was
yeah.
the
Was this-
strangest.
The house the other day.
Yeah, and it was a
Yeah.
Was it
strange-
like a machine voice almost?
No, it was a vocal voice.
Yeah.
But lots of different tones to it.
Yeah,
Lots and
yeah,
lots
yeah.
of different tones to it. But it didn't speak, it just made a very random noise. And it was like a blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I can't explain how it was. And I rewound it and I listened. And then I put it onto the computer and I slowed it down and and you can hear lots of different.
I think I know the type of voice you're
It's
talking
really
about.
hard to explain, but
There was the thing with that as well when we were in her bedroom, all like 4 of us, and herself. I don't want to say her name, but she was, she was up there, and she basically, she won't mind me saying this because we're going to put it out on the video anyway. Basically, the story is that she's says she's attacked during the night, and she's got marks, and and she's got like a strong belief that it's somebody in in the past, a family who did wrong by her years ago, like when she was small. And she was telling stories about, there was, unfortunately, there were, again, this is going to be in the video, so she'll be able to say, like, miscarriages, and there was, and there was that, and we were in a room, and we had one of the, the voice, box things, and she's talking into it, and she's talking to across the room where she says it is, like, most of the time, and she's like, I know who you are, and she's telling the stories, and some of the answers that were given then, were in response to what
completely
she was saying.
yeah.
But when we went back downstairs, and we're all downstairs, and we noticed something when we were looking back on on the recordings, and it was in that room, wasn't it? It was like, and we're looking at it, and again, it's one of those things where you'll sit and we rewound and looked at it from all different angles, and like, it could just be a car outside, but then there's, we saw this like shift the light, but it wasn't just by the window, like, but again, it could be a car, but then we saw 2, and this is like in the top floor.
It
but
was,
it's in the big
yeah.
house, and then you see these 2 shadows of these 2 people.
2 figures just walk past it.
One, or we know one taller than the other, one with the form of a child, and it was just a shadow. It was just a thing, and we like could be downstairs, but we're looking at it and we're trying to work out, well, how would we get that immediate reflection upstairs, just by the window rather than anywhere else. And she was like, and given the story, she believes that, like, yes, it's this person from her past who's attacking her, who tormented her when she was small, but she also doesn't want the ghosts to all leave because she believes that her nan and her sister keep her safe.
Wow.
So she doesn't want all the ghosts, to go. If there are ghosts, she doesn't want them to leave because she doesn't want to lose the the presence of a nan and everything. And the way she was telling it, and in the room and everything she was saying, we're like, well, okay, yeah, that could be her nan and her, sister, sister and stuff just walking past and stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so much walking past. We just saw the shadows in the room. We were all downstairs, and we're like, but then again, it could be complete, complete. Don't want to say bollocks, but it could just be like something outside.
It
I mean,
did,
it
she did
did knock
get
her, and she was.
That must be difficult.
shaken.
A difficult situation to be in, because if you go into something like that and don't find anything, then you're affecting someone by telling them something that might give them comfort and stuff. It's even if part of it scaring them. It must be a very difficult thing to manage.
You either like just giving them comfort, or you perpetuating this possible torment, in a man when but she was aware of that, and she actually said she'd gone back to college to study psychology, And we were having a conversation. She was telling me about her mental health issues and stuff. And we were talking, kind of bonding a little bit. And I was just, as someone like, you know, from that side of, you know, I like to think I can offer as, you know, just kind of like talking to people about the mental health and kind of relating to them on that level. And she's very much self-aware, and she was very much wanting, like she just studying psychology because she wants to be able to help people who've been through what she's done, and that maybe what she's been through, and that didn't strike me as somebody necessarily that, you know, was gullible or naive, you know. And you know, she seemed just a very genuine lady, and some of the stuff she was saying, I say some of the stuff I don't discount. I'm not in the position where I can discount anything or, you know, pass gas any judgment. But what some of the stuff she was saying did corroborate, you know, experiences or you know what we'd picked up in a house. But at the same time, you have to look at it from there. That's what I like to think I offer, is that you stand back and think, all right, okay, you know, if you hear, you know, 4 tiny hooves, you think horse, not zebra. You know what I mean? You think it's the most natural, the most rational answer is normally the right one. But
I think also it's important to say that when we do investigations, be it homes or corporate or anything, more so homes, we don't just go in and just investigate. So there are always a couple of meetings beforehand. It's where we go to the house and we try and work out what it really is that person's after.
I suppose it's good for your safety as well, for anything else.
It's got to be safe for everybody.
If you're going to spend time in somebody's house that you've never met before,
of course, yeah.
I don't think everybody that says they've got ghosts in the house is crazy, but I'm sure there's some of them.
Yeah.
You know,
we've been looking like that. We haven't had the piss took out of us in any of these as yet. Do you know what I mean? And that was always a concern. And I would never go around to a house on my own and sit with somebody. So there's always 2 or 3 of us go around. Yeah. So we always sit and we always explain, or they explain to us what's happening and so forth like this. We always walk about and sometimes we said, right, okay, we can tell you exactly where that's coming from, and we may never have to go back again because we've cracked it down and it's a natural process.
Yeah, you've got a drafty house.
Exactly. So there has been 1 or 2 of those, but if they are really wanting us to come back, you know, we don't charge anything, not for house visits. We don't, you know, we're there to help. But we do explain to them step by step how the night's going to go. This is what's going to happen. This is your equipment. These are the people that's going to come. Are you still okay with that? You know, we don't just sort of turn up on spec. And we've never come across anywhere where I can say, I don't think you're safe here. We've never come across that.
Also, we had safety in numbers, and when she made us coffee, I made sure, like, you 3 drank it first, and same with tonight.
Oh my lord!
So it's all coming out now.
Isn't it all coming out? So thanks for that.
Don't worry about it. Do you know what I mean? So
I was wondering why you let me drink my tea first. Well, you even touched yours. Now I know.
Manners, let the lady
just
go
shot
first.
That down, will you?
I'll let the lady drop first. Yeah.
So if
God, you're a lady.
I've got thoughts of what sort of paranormal activity and what things, especially things like shadow people and stuff like that, might be. What do you guys think it is? If you've got a gun to your head, like what? Maybe this might not be a question for you as much because you'd be a bit more on the fence. But are we talking? Are we ghosts? Are we demons? Are we interdimensional entities? Big mice?
This is where Sixth Senses come into it, isn't it? That's why the company's called Sixth Sense. It's that sixth sense. So if you're, we're all guilty of seeing something here and something there, and you look and it's not there.
Yeah,
that's your sixth sense. Okay, so whether it's there or not, that's how I see lots of things. Is here. I don't very rarely. It was only a couple of weeks ago actually. I saw some. I was getting out of my car. Bang! There it was, and it had gone as quick as that. But it's just a sixth sense, and I think it doesn't matter whether you believe, disbelieve, or whatever. I really do feel that everybody has that in them.
Yeah,
that sixth sense. As I would say, right, okay, I don't quite know what I'm going to question that. Some a non-believer would just carry on with their normal day.
Yeah,
you know, it's a shadow, it's this, it's that, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
just dismiss it, yeah.
Just dismiss it, yeah. As us, I think we'd look a little bit more into it.
As opposed to if the ghosts or interdimensional beings, we don't really know. I mean, We don't honestly. You don't know what goes on out there, do you?
See, I think I just think energy. You know,
Yeah.
we're all made of energy here, where we're living. Everything's made of energy. The table, the chairs, everything around you is made up of energy. Now, when this dies, when this body goes, where does that energy
Where's
go
it go?
to?
I've always thought that.
And
about
so
these
to
things.
me, it kind of goes through into the next room. And we've seen, well, I don't know
Energy
so much
can-
about you, but I've seen so much evidence that when we go, it's not the end.
Yeah.
Do I know what happens? Do you go down the tunnel? Is there a big white light? I have no idea what actually goes on.
Nobody's ever come back to see.
But they have, though. You get the UNDEs, don't you? Near-death experience people.
I think
But is
there's-
that a chemical
I
in the
think there's
brain?
people that have taken quite a lot of psychedelics as well, which have done very similar things
Yeah.
to death and come back with stories.
Well, I mean, in my younger days, magic mushrooms were fantastic. I'm sure I floated around the hills every which way and had a wonderful time.
Well,
But that's the chemicals in your brain, isn't it?
that changed my mind about this sort of thing quite a lot, because I hadn't realised it, because this was when I was quite young in my sort of, I was probably in my early 20s when this happened. Well, I don't think I'd been in my teens, but I took quite a lot of magic mushrooms and everyone around me, stuff was happening and nothing was happening to me, so I just carried on eating them because I just like mushrooms. And that
Man of my own heart.
was probably a bad move. So we went for a walk, and I remember we were up by Signpost Corner, and we walked up the little lane that takes you, as if you're going to go to the reservoir. Given the fact I've got very few Manx listeners, they're now lost. But there's a gorse bush walking up there, and I remember thinking to myself, all of the yellow buds on the gorse glowed and left traces like stop motion, like photography. If you're doing traffic,
Yeah.
and I remember I was sound of mind enough to go, right, that's really weird because it's dark, and I understand how colour works, and colour needs light to work. So that caught me off guard. Anyway, other things happened, and then we were walking down a lane, and then all of a sudden the lane just closed in on me like a big blanket, and I turned around to my mate and said, I'm going to sit down for a minute here. And I lay down, and I tripped out for half an hour. Now, I didn't realise until maybe a year ago to a year and a half ago, because this is the other thing. It always stayed. It wasn't like drunken memories fade. It's always stayed as a really strong memory. I read DMT, the Spirit Molecule. I don't know if any of you have read that or watched the documentary about it. Well, it's a scientist that wanted to do a study on psychedelics.
Yeah.
So he picked DMT because it only lasts 15 minutes. Got a really quick come down as well.
Trickery, they did it.
Yeah.
And it was an answer, and they're all like gone away thinking, well,
You make them.
We've just
They
seen-
can make their own minds up over that,
Yeah,
they can't
mhm.
they?
they can.
Yeah. We're not there to prove to say we to
Not the
indoctrinate
authority.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
indoctrinate in people's minds. It's definitely true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we're just there to try and give people, I don't know, the chance to kind of come along and do it themselves. Because so many people watch TV programs in the comfort of their own homes, don't they?
It's all about the people. When we do an event in it, when we were doing the events, it was it's their event.
Yeah.
They go ahead, and we don't. We just assist them.
We're there for the safety as well, more than anything.
Yeah.
aren't we?
What are the events?
Well,
Okay, so what the events? Yeah, so we do quite a few corporate ones. So we get team building.
Yeah.
Team building events coming up, and it's up to us basically to find a location.
Together like demonic possession.
Exactly true. It's true, and and there's such a great varied amount of people, because you have the believers, you have the non-believers, you have the people sat in the middle, and you. And we just thoroughly enjoy them, don't we? There's nothing too intense. It's not like when we're investigating on our own. We make it fun, but there's no trickery. There's nothing involved. We say at the start of the night, the chances of actually you seeing something are quite slim.
Yeah.
But we're
it's
putting-
not like it is on the telly, is
No.
it? You see
No.
ghost events on the telly, and they see something every episode.
Yeah.
How many
yeah.
episodes have they filmed before that's happened?
Before they
You
got
don't know
some-
that.
Which one's Ghost Adventures? Is that the one with Zach Bragan?
Zach.
Yeah.
Zach
yeah,
Yeah,
Bragan.
that's the American one.
See,
It's-
I know that has a script writer, that show. Cause
Oh yeah, well it's American.
but
isn't
it's
it?
entertaining.
I think that just didn't air. I think there might have been sort of snapshots on YouTube, but they didn't do a proper episode over here because they didn't find anything.
No.
Whereas I'm pretty convinced Mr. Bragan would have found something.
yeah. It's and Most Haunted as well. You know, it's like
It's bollocks.
yeah. You know, so on our nights, you know, we're not making TV, and like we say to all our guests, we're not out here to throw things and scare the shit out of you. That's not what the night's
Which
all
is
about.
what happens in most haunted.
Yeah, but what I did my
Something's
research
thrown.
before, like I started filming for you guys. And what was the episode I watched? And they go into a room and like something falls, and like that was stood up. That's fallen. What was that? That must be something. It's gravity, mate. And then
Yeah.
then they go down, and then there was another, like, there's the guy who's always like, open the gates of hell, open. Sorry, headphone listeners. Open the gates of hell. I was like, well, he's just sat there, and it's just little snapshots, and it's clearly that's 2 minutes of filming.
Yeah.
But like he's just there, open the gates of hell. You know, I'm like, well, I don't want that.
It's entertainment purposes, isn't it?
And that's the thing.
all
It's like
it
you
is,
realise it's
entertainment.
just it's filming 4 things and chopping in between them.
Yeah.
And there's the table levitating, and there's 3 of them around the table. And the woman, what's her name?
Yvette.
Ah, so she's there in the centre, and like there's these 2 other guys, and the table starts tilting, and like this table's solid oak, you know, do you know what I mean? I was like, and then later on they've got shots like, you know, underneath, and you can see the table levitating at one side, and then
Yeah.
it's not solid oak, it's like, I mean, that's some
Yeah.
thick oak, but no, and then like there's the shots above, and they're like, yeah, that's weird, but they don't show you concurrent, because, you know, TV show that budget, one camera, it's, you know, obviously you can't put another camera underneath
Yeah.
the table.
Of course.
It's stupid. And
The same I said to you, Di. I said you watch loads of them, and something always falls over in the background.
Yeah.
So the camera is never on it
no,
when it falls,
And it's always behind. Something's
you would
always behind.
You would
isn't
think that after somebody would catch it,
yeah.
just by pure chance, but it is never in the right. And then of course they turn around to that, and then something falls behind them again.
Yeah.
They're
And
making
they've just-
TV. They need to make something happen
Yeah,
for
but they-
people to watch, don't they?
They're overdoing it.
Yeah.
Completely.
Do you think it
off?
hurts what you do or helps it?
Hurts
Hurts.
because
Well,
I'm
it's
50-50
entertaining.
with it, really.
that's
I mean,
the thing. It's just entertainment, and there's very little budget, and it's cheap to make. And like I said, you can just see things chopping and changing, and there's nothing happening. But in every episode, there's something. And I was like, I'm upset.
It
I've
gets
been with
me.
you guys. I've been with you guys for what, 2-3 months now.
Yeah.
I've not seen anything. You know, we've been on a few different investigations. Every single room they went into, there's some spooky crap going on. I'm like, so.
I mean, we
I'm
did the
clearly
nunnery,
with the wrong
didn't we?
group.
We did the nunnery
but
about
the nunnery was
2 months ago, the actual nunnery building itself.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just us in there, the whole building. Now, can you imagine if there's a film crew in there? Oh, my
Well, they've
Lord.
got to
They'd be
produce
having
results.
nuns floating around up the bloody
Yeah.
walls and...
That's the
Bloody
thing. They've
hell,
got to
they-
produce results,
They
whereas
do.
where you guys are doing it, and myself as well. But like, you guys are doing it because it's a labour of love. It's a passion. It's not.
Have you done the gated theatre?
We will be. I did try the start of the
Working
year,
on
but they've
it.
taken a year out. There was an unfortunate.
I might have an in for you with the gated theatre.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'd be a good one because
Yeah.
there's lots of people seeing things in gated in there.
Oh yeah.
I think there's been quite a recent death in there. I think within the last 12 months. So they said, look, just leave us alone for 12 months, and then by all means get back.
Yeah,
So and the Castle owners were penciled in for the Castle owner as well. Once they can just
that'd
make
be
that.
interesting.
Once that I've done that place before, and that was that's the only time I've actually wet my knickers.
Yeah.
Yep, completely and utterly,
Wow.
really had a wet moment there.
Jeez.
Yeah, the only and in fact, it's the only time I think that I've screamed like a girl, because I'm quite sort of level-headed, but I was down in the tunnels on my own
Yeah.
downstairs. It's when it was actually open, so this is going back quite a while ago, and I was down in the tunnels, and one of the other team members, because the tunnel, they just go off all over the place.
Yeah.
So I said, right, okay, you go that way and I'll go that way. And yeah, but it wasn't paranormal at all. I actually stepped over a gas canister.
Yeah.
It'd been the pitch black, down the walls. And I stepped over, and somebody must have just pulled a pint upstairs
Oh
and
no.
then let it go. and I've straddled this box. I didn't know what it was, and then this big, the noise. Yeah, I screamed, and I felt all this warmth coming down my legs. Yeah, and it's the only time I actually have sleep. Yeah.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, and it wasn't paranormal after all that.
And we didn't film it.
Well, it's on film somewhere.
Is it?
On the old, very, very old camera, yeah.
Oh, dear.
But I can't wait to get back in there. I really, really can't wait to get back in there because that is an amazing place to do.
That's the one thing I would say about being on the island is trying to find places to investigate.
That's what holds us back.
It's just... Well, we could go on forever about that, couldn't we?
We were trying to do a paranormal pub crawl.
Yeah.
That's what we were trying to do over a series of pubs, weren't
So
we?
some of the pubs are some of the oldest buildings on the island as
Yeah.
well. So it's
Yeah,
be a good move.
And you know what? A lot of people they got back to me. They were fantastic. They weren't
Yeah.
ignorant. They got back and they said, look, they're here. We know they're here. We don't want to disturb them.
Wow.
And that's 90% of pubs on this island.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I had a really interesting one, and I won't say the address on the podcast. I'll say it later because you might want to get in touch with them. But there's a really, really old building I worked in. When I'm not pretending to be a fat Joe Rogan, I'm a decorator.
Okay.
And to put it in perspective, there's a painting of this house in there, and it's just that house in Douglas. The rest is fields. It's over 500 years old or something like that. It's crazy. The main house isn't lived in. It's kept as a museum type piece now, and people live in the side house. So I was painting the inside of all the windows. So the rooms are exactly what you'd imagine to be in certain houses. It's one of the big square type manor houses with the sort of 18-foot rooms.
Did you send a picture about this a while ago? Is it not you?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
And I did what a normal decorator would do. I went up to the attic, went as far right as I could do to find the rightest room, because the attic isn't like what you'd think of going up into an attic. It's essentially another floor upstairs. Right. I was on my own because the guy I work with was in the Monday Club, and I went into the room and opened the doors. And Beetlejuice, where they had the model village. Oh yeah. Imagine that, but it's a model railway that's there. And I opened the door of the attic. The model railway was going. The trains were going around it. Oh, my Lord. The lights were on in the houses, and there was smoke coming out of the chimneys. I fucking swear down on everyone I know for that. And I just calmly looked at it, closed the door, and thought, fuck you. And I was that shocked by what I saw. I didn't even run. I walked down the staircase again and wedged the front door open and worked in the hallway for the rest of the day. My Lord. When my friend eventually got there, I told him about it. We went upstairs and nothing was on and stuff like that the next day. But we had a bit of a bee on our bonnet about this whole place. Now, it's that old that the bottom floor's derelict, and it was slave quarters. So we went down into the storm drains to see if we could get into the slave quarters, because the only door into them was barricaded from the inside, which I found weird.
Yeah.
So we eventually found a window which we thought we could prise open, because probably shouldn't be doing this as professionals, but there was no one there at the time. And we put our scrapers in, and you couldn't have anything that sounds more cliched in your entire life, because there was a big long corridor with a rocking chair in it. And when we started to try and open the windows, the rocking chair rocked. And we thought, right, that's enough. Something does not want us around. Wow. But that was weird.
Right, got to go there.
Even now, I jittery jittery thinking about that room.
So, what kind of slaves would they have had? It
would have been servants,
just a
servants and
quarter.
maids. Like in between the rooms, for instance, there is partitions between the rooms, so the servants can walk around without interfering with the main rooms. So we say servants as a nice thing.
They were more so based in attics, though, weren't they?
What?
In big houses, it was more the attic space.
Yeah, well, that staircase the staircase that went down into those quarters didn't go up to the attic. I don't think. I think you got into that from the kitchen level. Right. But like I said, there was one door into that, and that was barricaded from the inside with suitcases and boxes and all sorts.
So how can that be on the inside then?
How
the hell did they get out?
No idea. And we gave it a really good look around, and there was no other doors to the basement floor, unless somebody's purposely gone in to barricade that door and then got out from one of the
The
windows.
window.
But why? Just to scare two decorators.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
that
have to
was
give us a little bit
interesting.
more on that then.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that'd be the old rocking chair. That's the best one, that, isn't it?
I think the lights on in the houses was pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So you kind of like just disturb somebody playing with it that you actually can't see.
Either that, or it was somebody putting on a show for someone that was coming upstairs. Like I say, the house is empty. People don't live in it. It's literally the only people that go in there are people that do maintenance and cleaning.
Right.
But
How amazing. That sounds like
Yes, that sounds
like
good
one for us,
Oh,
definitely.
well, yeah.
Most definitely.
I'd sit in that chair.
Yeah. You and me both.
I'd do anything, mate.
Yeah.
I'd walk into he called me what does he call me? The go anywhere guy or something.
Yeah.
I think
I think
a podcast and in the Barcelona, for instance, and if you went off and did your investigation, probably we shouldn't be with the lights off, and then we could reconvene afterwards and discuss what's happened. I think that might be quite an interesting thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we do have a few places where we can get any time.
Mm-hmm.
They're mainly for events, aren't they? Because we do give money to charities to these places.
Yeah.
So we do have to charge a little bit for the tickets just so we can cover the money for the
Yeah,
venue as such. So we have 2 or 3 of those around the island.
People's time is worth something, as well.
Do you know what? Do you know what though? This is what's so beautiful about the island, right? Because you probably won't get it anywhere else. They will give you the key, and they'll say,
just pop it back. Yeah.
It's just amazing. Even people's houses. This happened to us in Peel.
Yeah.
We went just very, very quickly. We went to go and do one investigation, which we all seemed great anyway. They pulled the plug on it at the last minute, and we came out of one building, and then obviously Peel's very, very narrows, and there's a house there that I've absolutely adored for years and years. We came out of one building, and then right opposite was my house. I absolutely adore this house, and I saw a light on, and I said to Andy and Gaz, I'm going to knock on the door. These 2 are up off the hill. You can't do that. You're walking off. Just leave it. Just leave it. And I said, well, if you don't ask, you don't get. They could tell me to sod off, or they could say, oh, come on in for a cup of tea. You don't know. So I give them a knock anyway, and this chap in a lovely string vest comes to the door. Yeah. And so I explained what I did, and then he just sort of like looked at me, smiled at me, like, is she for real? And then called his wife. He's saying his wife came to the door. Next thing, come on in, come on through to the kitchen. But now this house dates, I think, 1640. It was a public in 1640.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. And they were these amazing people, weren't they? They were just fantastic. They had the house up for sale. They were just amazing people. Next thing, they're just handing us the keys and saying, just come in on Saturday because we're not in. That's their home.
Yeah.
3 complete strangers gave us the keys. We spent a good few hours in there. I can't remember. I think it was quite paranormal. It was quite quiet, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
And then we just posted the keys back to the letterbox, and that's their private home.
That's crazy.
But there's only here that would do that, and it's so nice to actually have that.
Yeah.
Isn't it? That trust and that as a community.
Yeah, no, it
is
is nice.
It's lovely.
It's one of the things I do like about small island life. It's definitely. What sort of times do you do it? What's like? Is there a best time? Is like 1 o'clock in the morning? Because people say, is it 3 o'clock?
Between 3 and 5.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the weird times.
Between 3 and 5, because that's when the body's at its lowest. Whether you're asleep, whether you're awake or whatever, it kind of goes into shutdown from them 2 hours. So you will get people like pass away in between those times. Sickly people, but that's roughly about the time of the morning, early morning. Then they'll go.
Yeah.
So that's really a good time for us, but it's hard for us. It's okay for us individually, as just as SSPS, to do an investigation. But if we're doing events, then the guests aren't willing to stay around for long periods of time. It can be like 10 till 12 or 10 till 1. Or it just depends. And if it's pubs,
especially if nothing happens.
Yeah, and if it's pubs, we might not even get until 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
By the time they've all...
We've had that, and we had a particular pub. They had a lock-in as well, didn't they?
We've done a few pubs. That's
So that didn't help.
There's
Yeah.
plenty of spirits.
not far too many.
There was, yeah.
Very vocal, weren't they?
They were very. They were.
Knocking our sound up anyway.
I said, are they going?
Oh
We
dear.
ran a really good event Friday just gone, actually, which is at the, do you know where the South Douglas Old Friends Club?
Yes,
Circular Road. Yeah, so underneath there, there's the Manx Operatics Hall.
I've been under there. I've been in the basement. I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
It's where it's just where we're rehearsing. Funnily enough, Ghost. I'm in Ghost, which
Cool.
is on at the Gaiety in March 27th, 28th. I'll turn up anyway. And so there's natural, obviously, cross promotion, but and because of that, and because there had been sightings, and there was people had a bit of history there, we turned up on Friday after rehearsal. So after rehearsal, that must have been about 10 we started. And yeah, we were on till about 12:30 or something like that.
Well, they
And
originally said,
yeah,
oh, just for an hour. And we said, you won't do it for an hour.
An hour will go like that.
An hour will
goes
go
too
like
quick.
that.
Yeah.
And they do,
Yeah.
12:30, 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Thinking it up
And
to
they're all
half
going,
one.
look at the time. It just went like that, didn't it? When,
yeah, it just flew by. And but then we were more than willing to stay, and there was some lovely people who with stories and sightings that all kind of corroborated with each other. And there was the Ouija board, and there was a bit of investigation walking around.
Do you always do
and-
Ouija boards on your events?
We bring it.
Yeah.
It's there. It's a prop, basically.
Yeah.
So when we arrived, and I brought on Friday
Yeah.
night, and I brought it out of the box, and the head lady was saying, "Oh my God, people are seeing you bring it out. They're not impressed." And she was panicking a little bit, and I said, we're here so people can push their own limits.
Yeah.
We're not here to entertain them.
Yeah.
You know, they are the paranormal investigators of the night. It's there. You don't have to use it, but it's there. They did.
They did.
They
and
pushed themselves.
it's safe.
And it's a very
It's
safe
safe.
board. It's a safe
But
board.
people, when you talk about Ouija boards, people think of the films and all that. You just got to. It's like Jaws, isn't it? Everyone's frightened of sharks
Yeah.
because of Jaws, but most sharks, it's rare, isn't it? But it's like,
Especially if you don't swim.
well, if you don't, yeah. These films make things worse, don't they? You
I
reckon
don't know.
that?
I think a board in the wrong hands could do damage. Don't get me wrong.
Well,
I think they are a powerful tool.
yeah, but not when
But-
we bring it in.
Well, no, because the board is
But it was responsibly used, and again, if people weren't happy to use it, it wouldn't have been used.
they
But-
didn't have
but
to.
they were.
But they
have
did.
to.
And they
But they
did.
did. They pushed
They did.
themselves, which was
And-
great.
They
Yeah,
said,
and
go
they-
on. Yes,
they liked
they
it.
did, yeah.
Yeah,
they
I've
felt like
always
they-
been interested. I've never done one.
Yeah.
I've always been interested in it.
They really got into it, there's and the one concern I think one of the guys said was because we're a lovely talented bunch of people who do
Very
shows
talented.
and stuff amateur dramatics.
Yeah.
And the one concern I can't remember who it was that said was we were worried, obviously because then there's naturally the flair for the dramatic, and they were worried, but everyone was down to earth. They're all they all took it seriously.
They
Obviously
did,
there were
yeah.
giggles and stuff, but they took it seriously. There's the people who felt something more than others, but none of them were overplaying anything, or and it's nice when you have that kind of experience, because you get these people who are just
They would never have
everyday
done
people.
that.
No,
He said to them before, we'll never touch that. Yeah, that night they did.
Yeah.
They had a go, and it was good. They liked it. Yeah.
It's like anything that you shouldn't do, though. You've got to have a go.
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
like,
Absolutely.
you
I'm
say
well
don't press
like
that red button. It's one of those. I want to press it. And the Ouija board's exactly the same.
Yeah,
You
but
might
I'd
get
be in that
possessed, but
basement.
don't
That
touch it.
place is creepy as fuck.
yeah.
Well, we've got a big corporate event coming up next year down that place. We've got the whole place. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And these are all completely sort of.
So which basement did you on about? Is it
I didn't even know there was more than one basement, to be perfectly honest.
There's-
There's
there's
a
a
boxing
boxing
ring, isn't
club.
there?
There's a
Yeah.
boxing club down there.
that's
at
the one. That's the one I was in, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is it used?
It's boxing.
Yeah.
It's got a big
Yeah,
boxing
people
ring
have
and
always
Oh,
everything
right.
now.
No, it's not that one then.
But that's
This
only
one was
recent,
empty.
Old
There was
Friends
props
Clubs, you
in
go in and you turn, that'd be the one we went to. Then
Yeah.
you turn that way and you go in. It works out as being under,
Yes.
halfway under, and then you go through. There's the toilets, and then there's
Yeah.
the props room.
And there's a sort of an open wall box type
Yeah.
room in it. Yeah. I
Well,
do.
there's another down below
Is the wow?
from that as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's over quite a few floors. It's a big place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's an
a
interesting
big
history
place.
there, and yeah, no, it's easy to go into any creepy place. Well, it's not a creepy place, but do you know what I mean, in the right sense, it's easy to go into anywhere. Like you can go into an abandoned hotel.
Yeah.
and that can be creepy, but it
Empty
doesn't mean-
schools.
doesn't
Empty
mean-
schools are the creepiest in the world.
Doesn't mean there's anything
Or
there.
empty
but-
hospitals.
We
Yes.
just don't have them here because every time, like the old prison would have
They
been.
just knock it down
They
here.
should just kept that and had it as like a tourist attraction or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Of course, I mean that's just a paranormal paradise for us.
Yeah.
Because it just sets a scene. Not
Yeah.
saying there's going to be anything in there, but it sets a scene. What do they do? They knock it down. It's just a bloody grass verge now. They're very good at that over here. It's just knocking down all these old.
And then just leaving
Summerland.
things.
But Summerland,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I
The
wouldn't
old
touch
mental
Summerland.
hospital.
But
No, that's the thing. You've got to be careful with
you
these
do.
places.
You have to be. You
Because
do.
people have died there. Do you know what I mean? These places where, and it's the element's small enough where it can easily be somebody's. That's why we don't go traipsing around graveyards or anything like that. Because again, it's someone's family. Do you know what
I don't think we'd be quite as polite if I was doing it.
No, but
We
we're
do the odd
respectful.
graveyard.
But we don't. In my time, we've done church grounds, but we've not been, rooting around looking at like gravestones and stepping over anything. We've been
Yeah. No one's ever dug anyone up. Definitely not. No,
Still got
no
my blood
dig
on my
ups.
shoes.
No! Put that spade away, will you?
I'm
Told you
saying
not
we're
to bother.
polite, we're respectful.
We are respectful. We are. I think you've got to be in a very small communities that are on the island. I think you do have to,
Yeah.
most definitely. And I mean, Summerland. I was actually being born as that place was
I actually
coming
saw
down.
it.
Bang smack on 7 o'clock. I was coming to the world, and that place. So in a strange kind of way, I've got a horrible connection with it
Yeah.
because people don't see it as my birthday. 2nd of August is just 7
Summerland
o'clock
Day.
at night. Summerland.
Yeah.
Actually,
We don't have been on the island a week. I
Yeah.
saw it out the window.
yeah.
Over in the...
But you still have got relatives. 46 years ago isn't a long time. So I don't
Yeah, you
think
don't-
I really could have done that place anyway
Mm.
because it still holds. It's still.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like it's still in recent history where
Yeah, of course.
there'd be someone's grandfather or
Oh, yeah,
Well, you
so-
always
yeah,
get
yeah,
that,
yeah.
but you will
Yeah.
always get that here.
yeah.
You will always get that
Yeah.
here. I mean, if the Manx Murders books, I don't know if you've read the Manx Murders books, fantastic.
Mhm.
It's absolutely fantastic book. And that kind of goes to the very recent murders that have been over here right the way back. But I kind of go more onto the way back
Mhm.
than more the recent. Because I just find it a bit morbid somehow. It's strange, isn't it?
Well, there's got to be that certain amount of just thing like Jack the Ripper, incredibly fascinating. I'll go on Jack the Ripper walks. I'll watch documentaries.
Yeah.
I'll read about because it's
something
so
you want
long
to tell
ago.
It's got the beard.
It's so long ago that it's
Dale the Ripper.
Steady Eddie.
it has been a nickname, but not in those circles. But the point is,
Oh,
You've got a touch of the Yorkshire Ripper
Yeah.
about you.
Yes! This is gonna stick now, boyo.
but that's what I'm saying, right? Jack the Ripper, fascinating. Yorkshire Ripper, morbid to be. Do you know what I mean? To
Yep.
find it interesting.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. It's like if we can just take away from, kind of slate me for a second, suck my dick. But no, it's like there's
No,
got
it
to
was
be.
Sutcliffe, wasn't it?
Nice. There's got to be a certain level before like,
dear.
there's a space of time, and
Yeah.
so just kindly you'll go fuck yourself. turn that one into a joke. Make it nah, it's all good. Yeah.
Oh, good old
Not
Peter.
Dale anymore, it's Peter. Or Roger.
So where do you want to take it? Like, is there a thing in your head where you, especially with getting like some filming and stuff done, is there something where you want to turn it into something that's more entertainment based that you could put out to more people?
Well, yeah, we want to definitely put it out to people, don't we? We've talked about this for a bit now, haven't we?
We've talked about it since day one. It's just
It-
taken a long time to claw itself, but like we're doing things like this and the filming.
We've got the filming
and-
going.
and
It's all starting to come together
it
now.
is. It's took a good while to get here.
We'd like to do more places to go, wouldn't we?
We
Definitely
don't-
more.
yeah.
It's just
I mean, we could do so much across. And I mean, individually, we've done a lot of places across. But
I've
we
been
want to try and keep it local.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's...
But, like I said, like I said, we just talked before we come on air, when it was about 30 East Drive.
Yeah.
You ever heard of 30 East Drive?
No.
Oh,
they made a film on it.
made a film on
I'm
it
trying to think what the film
called
was now.
When the Lights Went Out.
Yeah.
That was it.
That was it
The
last
family, it was
year.
back in the 70s. The family in there were terrorised by a spirit in there. I mean, she was dragged up the stairs by her hair, and also they had to leave. And the place has been empty since.
Oh, was this done recently?
12 months ago or so.
It's in Pontefract.
Yeah.
But
In Yorkshire.
I can't remember whether this is what I'm thinking of the right thing or not. Was there a dramatisation of it with the big guy, big British actor, used to be in Red Dwarf?
Craig Charles.
No, not him. He only ever did bit parts. I suppose Red
Right.
Dwarf is not the best thing for me to say actually, but that's the only thing I think about. No, it's okay. Sorry, carry on. I've derailed you.
Where we want to go with it is, like you said, filming. Yeah, I've got hours.
We could
and
film in there.
hours of footage to work out.
Yeah.
We can do, but the whole idea around us is to explore the Manx side of it, isn't it? But
Yeah.
we come across this. I don't know. So many doors close in front of us, and we think we've got a really good lead, and people just there's quite a few people that don't want you in disturbing it. And I keep saying, because they don't have a knowledge of it, it's not disturbing. It's actually allowing it.
I suppose there might be some aspects of people not wanting something confirmed as well, because if it's just noises and banging and stuff like that, they just think, well, it could be something, or it could be nothing. It's probably just plumbing, and those people might not want to have like confirmation of something.
But even if they get confirmation, there's nothing saying that they're going to get hurt. It's
no,
it's just a spirit going
absolutely
about
not.
its daily,
No.
its daily jobs. It's. I just don't know. Sometimes I just don't understand the mentality, but I think it's the not understanding it
Yeah.
But I think
correctly.
I think there'd be a lot of people over here who would be up for that. It's just that we've just got to get to them.
Well, they've got to get to
well,
us.
they've got
and
to
that
get
we've
to
got
us.
to know that we're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have an episode out, and by the end of the early next year, so for the next 2 months, there's going to be something on that.
I think the first sort of video is done, isn't it? We're kind of like so we're just working on the second one now, aren't we?
Yeah, we've got the format for the things, and we've got 2 like investigations per episode plus other bits, interviews of people. But that'll be out soon, so I'd say with the next couple of months, and then we'll see what opportunities take from there, and then. The idea is to release an episode every
The ITV
month,
were
2
really
months.
interested, but they weren't. They just didn't come up with the money. So I said, "Hey, I'm not interested." Then Channel 4 got on board. Then BBC One. I said, "Look,
Channel 5 rang you up and said no.
Channel 5. Then
It
Sky.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, Sky. And I said, "No, I'm not interested."
Quest.
It's got to be on Manx TV. Quest.
I would be surprised if Quest hadn't got in touch with you.
Most of the ghost stuff is on that Really channel, on the sat.
It is, yeah.
On that channel, that Really channel, which is part of the UK.
It's just giving us that break.
There's loads on that.
I think once we've got that break, then we'll be on a roll.
Yeah.
But we're just kind of dragging our heels at the moment, getting out there.
We were almost to the point where we were giving up, weren't we, a while back?
We were,
Yeah.
But then we had a reality check and said, no, it's what we enjoy doing. So
I think that's all that matters with these things and stuff, is the enjoyment in what you're doing of it. And it's at that point, it doesn't matter how much you make, it doesn't matter how much time you put in. But if it becomes the thing that you enjoy doing, then it's
it brings so many people together as well, doesn't it? We see that on corporate nights. They're all kind of in the little groups and all that. And by the end of the night, everybody's
all
one
together.
Group, and
they're all disbelievers, aren't they? They're all, and you get and at the end of the night, they're all like, they go away thinking, okay.
But we do get some really good positive feedback from them as well, which is amazing. So
you said when we were talking on Facebook before you came here, because I picked up on what you were used the word that there's lots of atheists that don't believe. Do you come at this from a religious angle? No.
There's no religion in it at all whatsoever.
No. It doesn't matter either way. I'm not trying to lead you somewhere.
No, not at all.
Are any of you religious?
No.
Yeah.
No? Are you religious?
Yes, I am, but it doesn't. So
Well,
much
I never
play.
knew that.
Well, look at him.
Talk to me more.
JC?
So,
JC.
when I'm not like,
This is
strolling
birthday
like, Yorkshire, slaughtering prostitutes, this is what I do.
When you're not sending people to Jesus, you're worshipping them.
Just trying to cut
He
the
looks
middleman.
like he looks like he's walked out of an Amish village, doesn't he?
Leave him alone.
Why not
Sorry,
bring
Dom.
it? It's all good.
Come on, go for it.
You can't.
Let it
can't.
out.
I didn't grow this overnight. I've this
You
is
cultivated it.
yeah. Do you know what I mean? So this is 3 months of intently looking like this. But I'm getting the piss taken.
We just skid right off the M6 then. Did you see that? He was flying down 80 mile an hour and he just skidded right off into sorry. Excuse these two.
So yeah,
We're
so
talking
go on.
about, so what religion
I don't
are you?
know,
I
I-
didn't know. Did you have a religion? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what religion are you?
I've got Christian beliefs,
Mhm.
though. Yeah. Though I'm not looking at it from that
No.
angle because I don't.
You can't, can you?
Yeah, I don't think religion so much plays
nothing to
a
do with it,
part
really.
into this religion is like my beliefs. What's going on in the world is still going on in the world. Do you know what I mean? Whether
Yes,
there's
yeah.
that doesn't change anything to do with like if there are ghosts. You said the thing before. My belief is, I don't think my personal opinion on ghosts is I'd lean more towards it being like energy.
Yeah.
Like a spirit, like a limbo kind of like thing, as someone who hasn't been able to be like passed over, or they've got unfinished business, or haven't been able to let go of, or it's just like psychic energy left over, residual energy, or anything like that. I believe in the afterlife, but I'm not seeing this as people coming back, from the afterlife. I just believe that this is lost souls, if anything, So while I do have strong religious beliefs, I pray every morning,
Mhm.
Or I do anything else. Sometimes go first. Depends, like I've,
You know,
You've got to get them in the right order,
It's
haven't
so
you?
funny you say that because every night I do say my prayers. I'm not religious,
I thought you
but
said
I
you go for a
believe.
shit.
That's in the morning. I'm not a night person. I'm a morning person. But I do,
It's okay. It's because of the coffee.
So I do believe. I believe in the ultimate sort of universe or whatever you want to call it. But I always say my prayers every night just to protect me and my family and keep us all healthy and everything.
Yeah.
But
I've done that.
This isn't a religious venture for us. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's
That's
not,
the thing,
no.
and it's
No.
So
The only thing I remember when I was a kid was now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, pray the Lord my soul to take. Amen.
That sounds wonderful.
under your pillow.
I was
under
only
your
that was a
bed.
kid. I don't do it. I haven't done it for years.
Well, I don't know. It's just something that just gives me comfort.
Does it?
I don't sit on the end of my bed and put
What
my
about,
hands
does
together.
a
and
hot
everything,
water
but
bottle give you comfort?
My dog. My dog gives me comfort. But no, I mean that's it gives me comfort, so I know why you do that. Most definitely.
I just
It
go to
does
bed,
give
just
me-
go to sleep.
But I'm not religious.
Okay.
I'm not religious, but it's just.
Well,
a
I
comfort
mean,
thing,
it was.
isn't it?
I take it we were all baptised. Were you baptised?
I was baptised.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, there you is.
It
Then you-
burned when they did it.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, baby, yeah.
I've still got 666 around the back of my neck, but that's why I got long hair to hide it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hell's bells. Hell's bells.
Bum, bum.
I think like whenever people are into something like this, I use. Is there anything else that you like are into as far as like paranormal things, or is it just a firm sort of ghost thing you look at, or what do you think about UFOs and stuff like that?
Oh, I love that as well. Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
I love that. To be honest, lots of weird stuff. I used to read things like the 14 Times and all that, which is all strange stuff. Yeah, anything like that.
Yeah, because I've this sort of feeling with things that if one of them's true, I think probably all of it is. Do you know, like a universal theory of what goes on is probably.
I think it'd be mental if there weren't UFOs. I think
Yeah.
it'd be mental if we were the only life on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It
No.
can't be. I mean, it's we're digressing on the UFOs here, but even just by probability, there's hundreds and hundreds of possible planets out there that could support life.
Yeah,
Just if you factored it down to the very tiniest degree, there's still hundreds and thousands that could be out there.
yeah.
So the chances of us being alone is ridiculously small.
Well, you see, the thing where I come from is I think it's extra dimensional, all this sort of thing. So I've got I think the idea of
Yeah, well, got quantum theories with your other universes.
Yeah.
Every time you say yes or no, that creates two.
Some splinter something off.
Yeah, that there's millions of them. Time travel's another one. There's people coming back in the future.
That's it. If someone
or-
invents time travel in the future, it means it's present everywhere at that moment, doesn't it?
Yeah. So people say, well, I haven't seen anyone. Well, because I'm going off on one here now, but they won't show themselves because they don't want to upset the past, which would upset their future, which is quite right. It's
Yeah, but you could put the same bracket as recon, couldn't you? I don't know, but
there could be people travelling from another dimension. God, this sounds like science fiction, but another dimension coming in, but they can only appear just as a figure.
There's a foam trying to break through.
As quick as that.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Mm-hmm. Or just points where string meets, where
Where
these
they cross
things
over.
overlap.
Yeah, where they cross, and he just happens to walk. There could be houses, haunted houses, for all you know. Could be places where different people cross.
ley lines.
That's it.
It's another
ley
one, isn't
lines.
it? Yeah. But I think it's quite ignorant to think we're the only planet in the whole of the solar system that's got life on it.
No, I don't. I think there's more. It's just.
I think it's just
to
a case
even
of we're probably
think
that
that.
far away from each other. It's
Well, it is.
we certainly don't have the technology.
No.
But then
No.
you
And
don't
then
know
there's
what's...
also the terrifying prospect that we are the most intelligent life form in the planet and the universe. There's just as much chance of us being the only one which has got itself up and moving, making televisions and tablets than it is.
But how intelligent are we, really? I mean, look at the way
Speak
the
for
world's
yourself.
at the moment.
Oh yeah, but there's
It's
no
a bloody mess, isn't it? It's
but-
horrendous. So with technology, yeah, you got your iPads, you can send people up to the moon.
If you look at animals, like all animals, like most animals are tribal to a certain extent. Most animals are territorial to a certain extent. I think any species, if it got to the technological state we're at, would be the same.
Yeah.
It's just like nature appears to want to end itself at some point. For no matter what it is, apart from maybe dolphins, they seem to want to just end sharks. But yeah, I think there's something to say that maybe that's just the natural order of things. Like war is the natural order, and we're not going to
It's
get
man,
rid of
it's
that.
man that would end
Well,
it.
yeah. I mean, you could argue Mother Nature has its way of curbing the population, and you can get onto all sorts of things. That got wars.
Yeah.
Because if we keep growing the way we're going, it'll just be overrun the planet, wouldn't it? So at some point, it's got to stop, hasn't it?
It equaled itself out, didn't it, after the Second World War too? The birth rates of men skyrocketed after the Second World War, and it completely bucks trends because you usually get more girls, but the nature needed more men because men can make more babies essentially with fewer women. It's just the way it's the way we work.
Because you're all sluts. That's
Pretty
what it
much,
is.
yeah,
Very
pretty
much so.
much, yeah.
Never mind what the woman's going through. Get your lad out and have a good time. And then,
Well, there you
the
go.
woman's got to carry the can. We've always had it rough, the women, compared to you lot. Listen here, Roger.
I mean, look at Dale Sutcliffe over there.
Why do you think I turn? So why do you think I do it? Do you know what I mean? We don't need you.
Everybody's going to be giving the cameraman a very wide berth.
Jack
now,
the
you
Ripper, Peter
realise.
Sutcliffe, they weren't monsters. They were just like, all right, okay, look at this.
Someone needs to thin
We
the
need-
herd.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Oh my lord! 3 against 1 here. Come on.
Be careful now before we cycle
I know,
back to
yeah.
the war.
Look, he rubs the beard, doesn't he, when he's on? He just rubs it on. He goes, yeah.
That's what beards are good for. I do a good beard rub now and again.
Yeah, all right. Okay. What about you,
You're
Di?
halfway there. Oh, I've got to shave every day. Does suit one. I've tried it.
It's Movember. You should have just gone with it. But,
But going back to getting with UFOs and all that, yeah, I think there's. I'd love to see one. Never seen one. Love to.
yeah.
Love to. And well, I think it's weird. I used to watch all the programs on it. I don't know, Bigfoot and all that.
Yeah.
It's all like
The
weird.
UFO files are really good on telly, but they're all around Area 51 and all American and all this.
Well,
and the
this
other
is
bit.
it.
It is actually quite interesting because there's real footage there. It's not just what so and so said and they've been took up in the ship.
But it's like ghosts again, isn't it? Unless you see it
Yeah.
yourself,
yeah,
you'd
yeah,
probably
yeah.
dismiss it, won't you? They've just throwing a bloody dustbin lid in the air or something, you know.
Have you guys ever heard of the Stoll Group? Stoll
No.
Group. It's a British. I can't. It's a British sort of paranormal like think tank that was made in the 80s. Have a look. It's really difficult to find now because whenever I mention this to someone, I always try and find it for them on YouTube, and it takes me fucking ages. Especially now, I suppose, with YouTube clamping down on so much stuff. But it's a really good documentary. Essentially, this group, I still think you can find them online. I think they've got they do corporate tours and stuff that you can go to. But essentially, they were like for the time a paranormal supergroup of mediums that got together, and they just started this sort of research group up between them. And there were some really interesting things they did. And if the evidence they put forward is all on the level, I don't think there's anything like it that's been found, because they had camera film that was sent to them from Kodak, and then they would do seances with the camera with the film in sealed boxes that was sealed by Kodak when it was sent to them. Then those boxes would be sent back, developed, and then the pictures sent there. And there was all sorts of writing found on them. There was an amazing picture of what is essentially alien grey that was there. With what that was what made me think first, I wonder if this is all like the same sort of thing. But yeah, you guys check the Stoll Group out, because it's really
Definitely.
really cool.
See, it all seems really, really far-fetched, but because we don't know, we just... I don't know, we just switch off from it, but you don't know. You just
a lot of it
don't
can be
know.
probably scientifically explained. I mean, everything that you see, if you don't, you think it's magic. If we'll say for magic, something that, well, that's weird, it's because it hasn't been scientifically explained then.
Yes.
And then in the future, when it is explained, everyone thinks, okay, well, that's just normal. But it's just, magic is something which isn't scientifically explained. That's all it is. So we're talking about this now. I don't know, in maybe a few hundred years' time, it'll be said, oh, well, we can explain this, blah, 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 and everyone, oh, fair enough. We'll be out of a job.
Yeah, but I don't think the spirit world will ever be explained. It's the reason why it shouldn't be explained. I don't know what it is.
I
honestly don't know what it is.
There's an argument to be made for both. It could, and it might never be explained, but at the same time, it's only like, weird, like, unexplained and stuff, because it hasn't, like, do you mean, like,
It's
said,
not been,
yeah,
nobody's
like,
come up
magic,
with
it's that quote, maybe magic and science are the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's that idea that we don't have woolly mammoths anymore, but at some point, they were like, and they're like these big, kind of like amazing, like, creatures and stuff that, are, kind of
Dinosaurs.
mystified. Yeah, dinosaurs.
Well,
Do you know
just
all that?
going back to-
But that's just because we don't have them anymore. That's why it's exciting. It's like,
Yeah, but they did
As soon
live.
as we
They
get
were
They were
sick.
frightened of things. They were frightened of marsh gases that that would light up. They call it will-o'-the-wisp.
yeah.
because
And
they didn't
it
understand
was unexplained.
Yeah.
And so they made a
Is
thing
that what
out of
Will
it.
of the Wisp
Will-o'-the-wisp
was?
is?
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
wondered what it was. Never knew.
Yeah.
It's marsh gas that lights up.
Yeah.
And now it's explained, so that's it.
Yeah.
Everyone it's nobody's bothered about it anymore. But back then, people made a big thing of it.
I think the more research that goes into psychedelics is going to open this whole subject up more and more. There's certain states, I think Texas has just legalized magic mushrooms as well as cannabis. I think that there's more like real university tests going on now, where like there was back in the sort of 50s and 60s before, or sorry, 60s and 70s, before the great clampdown when it was impossible to do any of that sort of stuff. So I think that stuff's going to open the science aspect of paranormal up a lot further.
Are you familiar with the story behind the men who stare at goats?
Yes, I am.
And do you know what I mean? And it, going on with what you were saying, do you know what I mean? I believe there will be scientific explanations, and I think there will be trial and error, because I mean that obviously was a film, became a novel, but it was based on, like a genuine story where they were trying to mine, like actual, like like psychics,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a lot of money and a lot of everything and a lot of drugs behind it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Hitler was obsessed with the
Mm-hmm.
occult.
All
do
the
you know
way,
what I
all
mean?
the
Like,
way through
yeah.
history. Yeah.
throughout
Oh,
history.
Yeah.
Not glorifying Hitler. I mean, I'm a serial killer, but I'm not.
Well, we knew
Yeah,
he opens
no.
a box of cornflakes in the morning, rips it to bits. He's a serial killer. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Christian,
But,
Jew, Muslim, I'll kill all of you.
Got to be careful now because people will see this. It's fine. Shave this off. No. But jokes aside, like throughout history there are, and that's relatively within recent history. If you can, think about it, there will always be studies, so it could eventually be explained because, with all due respect to what we do, research into the paranormal isn't just a bunch of
Well, we're just tipping the iceberg.
like wankers
really,
running around with a camera and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
and a phone.
Yeah.
Do you just call us a wanker then? Do you know we can find another camera?
Oh, surely it'll be humility. I'm making serial killer jokes and stuff. Take one on the chin.
You're not
Instead here.
kidding, you do. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But it's true what you're saying.
But
I mean,
yeah,
look at the
like,
tribes.
it's not just
the
it's-
tribes in Africa and all around the world.
Mhm.
I mean, they inject themselves with frog
Sperm.
juice. I don't know what it is.
Frog juice.
Well, I don't know what they do, but they.
Yeah,
they,
there's a.
do
I
you
can't.
know-
I can't remember what the frog's called.
There's a psychedelic from the tongues and
Yeah.
stuff.
It is, yeah, but they kind of
It's
just dab it with
secretion.
something and
Yeah.
then they just put a little bit into it. And I mean, they're doing that to speak to the gods and to speak to, the witch doctors and everything else like this. And they're getting themselves based into that state, that magic mushroom state, that
Yep.
hallucinative state through drugs to reach that peak so they can do whatever they've got to do. But
Well,
they're still
there's
going
a
on the
theory,
world
isn't there? A
today.
theory called the stoned ape theory, and the idea that it was magic mushrooms and psychedelics that when apes came across these things, made it a part of their diet, and it was that allowed their brains to develop to the point where we made iPhones. I might have just truncated that.
They would explain having a phone made from fruit.
Yeah.
Give it a rest. Dear God.
You say that, but then you're walking around and you're talking to we're talking to ghosts through apps and stuff. It's fruit phones that make these things possible.
Get out of that one.
Just for
Really?
for headphone listeners and for headphone listeners, we haven't cut out sound. Andy's just thinking.
Speechless.
Just go and attack another box of cornflakes.
Have you got any investigations coming up?
We've got a
We
few in the
have,
pipeline. Yeah.
We're working on getting into the museum, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's not easy.
yeah.
It's a lot of back and forth
Mm-hmm.
with that. We're interested in exploring the Gaiety.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I understand, obviously, why they've been hesitant to let, people in. I mean, even just with not considering, the last few years. Do you know what I mean? It was a year and a half ago, even.
I didn't know. I didn't know anyone
Great,
died,
greatest
no.
respect to that. I mean, and that's not for us to comment on. But even before that, I understand because it's somewhere that people come to, and it's not so much. It's somewhere that it's used constantly throughout the year. Do you know what I mean? While there's the museum and the castles kind of make their business off the fact that
We'd
there's a
love
white
to get in
lady,
the
the more
castles,
you do.
wouldn't we?
Yeah, why? But that perpetuates their business. Do you know what I mean? To have themselves tied to this, whereas the Gaiety, I don't know if it makes particularly good business sense for them, or it might take some convincing for them to realise, that we're not just a
I think
bunch
they're
of
okay.
wankers running around for
Yeah,
camera.
there's the ghost walks going in.
Yeah.
But I think even they've had to back off.
Yeah, I
because they
think
didn't want-
They've
it
got the
can do
telly in
damage
there.
to them.
They've had the telly in there. They've had
They've had
How much
Most
did they pay?
Haunted, they've gone in
Was
there.
it Most
haven't
Haunted, was it? They go
might
in there.
To themselves, but yeah, they went in there and completely mocked
Wasn't-
it.
wasn't
I
there
was
another-
disgusted.
Most Haunted they've been in.
Yeah, they
That-
were, it
that
was just
woman- that
disgusting.
woman's
that
been in-
woman has been in there.
The guy running around going, open the gates of hell.
He wasn't actually working with them at the
Good,
time.
I know he shit a brick.
The demonologist wasn't there.
that would have been sore.
You're right, though.
A lot of fibre in my diet.
It is the stupid thing to say, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
you don't go in with open the gates of hell.
Yeah.
Should we like open the letterbox?
Yeah.
Can we, like, what
Open
about
the door. Just
yeah.
open the door.
Can we have the bathroom window of
Yeah.
hell open, please? Just so I can look through. Because you can always see through, but nothing
Not
can
after
get
he's
back
been
out.
in. Jeez, there's green smoke coming out.
You know, give us a sign.
Let's
Throw down one tiny little goat person. Enough that we can,
It's just something
over
we can
man
manage.
it. But you say so. Open the gates
Demon
of hell.
cat.
Oh man.
But he's a demonologist. So they've
a
completely
wanker.
switched it around. So they used to have a medium in,
Yeah.
Derek Cora and lots of others.
Was
that
he
just sort of
a medium?
He was
Moving
he,
on.
Was
moving
it, or
on.
was he an extra large?
Yeah. 2019. You're fat shaming him. You can't do that anymore.
So
You can't
yeah,
do
so
that.
they kind of come out of the mediumship. They've gone into a demonologist, and he's
Fred.
brought in Fred.
That's Fred, innit? He's
Yeah.
funny, him.
Well, that's all it is to me. If you're going out and you're investigating, you don't bring a demonologist along with you.
No.
How do you feel about demonology?
I've done so much research on demonology, and I get it. It's just, to me, it's another religion to me is demonology.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. It is actually, obviously, it's on the darker side.
Yeah.
And I think to do this, it's interesting that myself personally, I have studied so much on the spirituality side of thing, and then so I've done the white and I've done the dark side, because I think
Alright,
it's
Yoda.
important. It's important to do both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is. It's both sides of the coin. You have to kind of know a little bit about both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the dark side did interest me a little bit more.
I find that all like demonology side more interesting.
It was very, very interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and it was going down the Aleister Crowley route and all this, that, and the other, and the cult side of everything. It's very cultish.
Yeah.
Extremely cultish.
I've read the Book of Law.
Yeah. And it is really interesting, but it all comes down to that person leading that cult, and it just and we've got cults all over the place. Bloody politics is a cult at the moment.
Yeah.
But in regards to the Aleister Crowley days, and I find Aleister Crowley really, really fascinating.
I find it amazing how influential he was when you look back on it, and the surface stuff you find seems so Andy Warhol or the Beatles to David Bowie, all influenced by Aleister Crowley, and I've never understood why. That's why
He definitely had something.
Yeah.
Definitely has something. But he reminded me very
But
much.
most cult leaders do.
They do, yeah. And he reminded me very much.
I reckon he just
got-
fell into the wrong crowd. People used his name. They used him as a figurehead. I'm joking, by the way. I'm not a neo-Nazi. I do not want to lose my job.
You said it.
I think he's been on the magic mushrooms.
No, I think he has,
But, you
yeah.
know,
He was really into orienteering,
Yeah.
wasn't he? Like,
Gem-
he loved the outdoors. He wrote a book called My Camp.
Yeah. I reckon if we could talk to Hitler right now and stuff, he'd be like, you know what, I'm pissed off. And I made a joke. All I did was write a novel. Do you know what I mean? Got out of hands. Do you know what I mean? Before you know it, like, there's a whole army behind me. I can't say this is, do you know what I mean? Like,
Have you any idea how dangerous it can be if you don't?
do you know what I mean? It was a satirical novel, and all of a sudden, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, all these.
You're trying to say Hitler was basically Sacha Baron Cohen of his time.
All I'm saying is look at the mustache. Again, need to dial this back. Do you know what these are Nazi?
See, this is the best thing about doing
only making a
podcasts for
joke.
me. I'm self-employed and I can't sack myself, otherwise I won't be able to pay my rent.
However, everybody's got their own views on
all
whomever,
joke.
haven't they?
This is not
You
my
know.
view. It's just a joke.
All
All I know is just don't answer my phone tomorrow.
He wasn't an intelligent man like Aleister Crowley. And that all of a sudden they just become iconic
Yeah.
for doing the wrong things.
Yeah, I mean, Jim, you can say the same.
Just-
Jim Jones,
Yeah.
who am I thinking of his name? I know for a fact if I'd have been living in California before the crazy murder and stuff
Yeah.
happened, I would have been part of the Manson family. I'd have looked at that guy and thought, you're cool as fuck. I'm going to come and smoke dope with you and
Yeah.
drink.
And just have sex everywhere.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
the next thing is he's like, let's go and kill these actors. Like, right, mate. And then I'm in loads of trouble.
Was this before or after? Because Sharon Tate was Roman Polanski's wife.
Yes.
So is this before or after he?
After, sorry,
Before or after?
Before after what?
You got-
I think it was
Because
the murders
killed.
arrested for.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Well,
if you're a cult leader,
yeah.
you're having sex with anything and everything that's in your cult.
Yeah.
That appears to be like the sort of MO of being a cult leader.
And that's back to your witchcraft days again, going back
I was
to
going to say, yeah.
that side of things, isn't it? Your satanic
Sex
sort of
magic.
rituals and sex magic and so forth. Yeah, it's great fun.
I was going to say, I just I was just wondering because I know 20 he made quite a few more darker films and
Yes.
stuff, you know, since then. I did obviously, you know, how you know what I mean. But yeah, I was just wondering, just because I know obviously he was the Ninth Gate and some other ones that were, you know, also had some kind of like portrayal of the occult, and I was just wondering obviously if that played a factor.
I really like the Ninth Gate. It's a good film.
Obviously they were all came after he left for France.
Yeah,
and that was obviously that was after he, you know, did what he did.
Craziness.
Yeah. But yeah, Charles Manson, I'm sure he's an incredibly charismatic guy. Lovely head of hair.
He had a lovely hair, good beard.
Yeah.
He had a beard like yours, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, one thing I found interesting, I know we've gone completely off the ghost subject here, but did any of you see like the last interviews he did when he had there was an author in? So
He'd lost a lot of weight.
He lost a lot of weight.
No.
Crazy hair.
Yeah.
The crucifix on his head, swastika on his head. The author was in like screaming his case to, I think it was a female head of prison that was there, and he was just grinning, looking at this author, saying like, "He's a reformed man, he's set free and stuff like that. He's done his time." And you think, fucking hell, even up to the day he died, he had it.
Yeah.
He still had
got
it.
Well, that's where you've got to be careful with figures like that, because he is incredibly charismatic, and it was bollocks when he died. Can we swear on this too?
Yeah.
It was bollocks. It was bollocks after he died, and people were like, "Oh, you know, rest in peace." And like, you see on Facebook, and it was just like, "Well, no, he's a monster." Do you know what I mean? He didn't do anything, but no, he's a monster. You get all these things here, you know, all these little teenage emo girls that want to be, ironic, dark, of saying, like, you know, mourning him.
I think there's something alluring
because he's incredibly charismatic. You've got to keep a certain amount
it's
of
the bad, isn't it?
Yeah, especially someone that takes like to the darkest places of like human emotions.
Yeah.
There's something very intoxicating about that.
Definitely. And if you have a weak character as well, a weak personality, then you get drawn into that so quickly.
Yeah.
Because they offer you the world.
Yeah.
They offer you everything. You know, it's just on the inside, but they offer you everything.
Listen to that, Corbyn voters.
You know, well, yes, exactly. Yeah. Very true.
Wow. I can't get into this.
Political now.
But yeah, no.
Well, look at Boris.
Well, hey, I didn't say there was a good option.
Joe, yeah, the charming, charismatic, you know, Boris.
Yeah,
I mean,
charming, charismatic.
When I was watching it, you know, down to earth. I like him.
Yeah,
I don't.
No.
I don't. He's an idiot.
Yeah, he is an idiot.
But at the same time, he's probably not. Do you know what I mean? He's just pretty much got this character again, going back to Sacha Baron Cohen.
He's a clever guy.
All he's doing is playing. Do you know what I mean? All he's doing is playing he's a Donald Trump cosplayer. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I can get into office. I'm going to have a hell of a lot down to Hitler. Anyway, so they're all monsters. They're all monsters. They're all idiots. And I've had a great time tonight, and it's interesting.
And you love your job, and you disavow
he's not got his job tomorrow.
Anti-Semitism in all its forms.
No, but I've had a great time. It's interesting, in hearing someone else's opinion on it, because, like I said, I'm still on, as far as on the outside.
Yeah.
And it's been fun, hearing your opinions and stuff, and getting to hear more of yours, because I've heard accounts tonight that I didn't know.
And me too. I didn't realise you were religious. There you go.
Yeah.
There you are. So I'll be a little bit more. I'll back off you a little bit more now, really,
I'll bring it on.
and I'll respect that.
Bring it on.
To
I'm
fashion.
religious. I'm going to heaven. You know, I'm the, I'm the,
Oh, I know which
I'm
way
the
I'm-
righteous one. Do you know what I mean? So
I know which way I'm going.
You're the one that's fascinated by demonology. Bring it on.
I
Red hot
I
poker
think
shoved up my ass. That's where I'm going.
I
But
think
that's fine.
if we'll definitely get you back on at some point, because I think it would be interesting, not just to find out what you do, but also to find out what journey you've
Yeah.
been on through it, and
I'd be up for that.
where like in 12 months' time or something like that, where you stand
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
I think
I'd
something like this
that.
would be good as well, where you've got maybe the general public sort of being able to ask questions as well while they're here.
Yeah, well, what we can do next time is usually because I didn't know whether we were going to put this live on YouTube, we can advertise it a little bit better and then maybe do a Q&A or something like that.
Get people to
Yeah.
send in questions on
Yeah.
our site.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
No.
Because we've all got different opinions, so that we're not all singing from the same hymn sheet, not by any shape, means, or forms.
Yeah,
Are
Clearly
we
not. That's
really?
become apparent.
Pardon me?
That's become apparent.
Very apparent. Yeah. We're right, you're wrong. Just it's the way it is. But no, I mean, we're really open to anything, absolutely anything at all, because we don't effectively know.
yeah,
We can only say what we've seen and what we've witnessed, and that's what's brought us to here now.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly don't know. All I know is I'm not on magic mushrooms. I do know what I see. I've got quite a clear. I might be a female, but I do have actually quite a clear head.
yeah.
You're not supposed to agree over there.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll hide.
yeah. So I don't know. That's what's basically brought us here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We've witnessed things and we just want to share that with people,
Yeah,
whether you believe or don't believe. And the stuff that we get on camera, we always put out there and say, right, you make that opinion. You tell us what you think it is.
mm-hmm.
And somebody could actually come up with, they know exactly what it is. It's a light that's bouncing off that to that that's made
Yeah.
that. And that's brilliant because we've got an answer then.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, it's just unknown.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, thanks for coming and speaking to me today.
Oh, thank you very much for
Yeah,
inviting
Thank
us.
you. Yeah.
I'm going to end this in the YouTube feed now. It takes a minute for the YouTube feed to end.
Okay.
So if you can house your anti-Semitism for just slightly longer, that'd be great.
And if you can just just not try and summon the gates of hell. And
Cheers, people. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Yeah. See you.
bye.
Bye.